Today on New England Living, we're on the lookout for some of the region's best hidden treasures, including a South Shore artist crafting coastal-themed wooden signs by hand, and an architectural salvage company with an historic antiques collection over 300 years old. Plus, we'll learn how to recreate a classic steakhouse experience right in your own home with one of Boston's most esteemed chefs. It all starts right now on New England Living. New England is full of adventure.
Up and away.
Oh, you just did your first takeoff.
You're part of my dream day right now. Join me as we discover the people and places that make us so unique.
This is it. You can't find it anywhere else in North America.
I mean, does it get any better than this? Love the place you call home with New England Living. Thanks for joining us today on New England Living. I'm your host, Rachel Holt. Known around the South Shore and beyond for his handcrafted wooden signs, Paul Cuxtis has carved a name for himself around Scituate Harbor. Up next, we join Brianna Pitts in her hometown to meet the man behind the signs.
Paul, we're here in beautiful Scituate Harbor at your shop. This place is magical with the garden here. Just tell me about your shop and how it got started.
It's just a dream, basically. It's a second career for me. When we moved down here, my wife got me a gift certificate to take carving classes at a shop that was down the street. That was my introduction to wood carving. I'd never had any kind of background in it at all. I just kind of fell in love with it and just haven't stopped.
So you take a class and from there you just, you fall in love with wood carving?
Just wood carving.
What do you love about it?
You get in the zone. You know, you could sit down and carve all day long and it feel like an hour went by. It's not meditation, but it kind of clears your head. And I don't know, it's just got a cool feeling of working with wood, some natural product. There's a nice feel to it.
You carve a lot of different things here.
Yes,
I know one of the most popular things, though, are the quarter boards.
Yes.
There's a really cool New England history to those.
Yes, we like to think so. It's just New England, but it's probably not. You see these quarter boards, these long horizontal boards, reminiscent of signs you would see on sailing ships. You know, when there were shipwrecks years ago, people would scavenge the beach and take what they could, and they'd end up taking the name of the boat and hang it on their house, and, you know, that became a cool thing. And from that, it evolved into making them. It's a cool coastal tradition.
And you see it in a lot of communities on the South Shore, the North Shore, and it almost feels like it's like a sense of pride in a way.
Oh, without a doubt. Not only are they putting their family name on it, but they'll name the house.
You carve, in addition to the quarter boards, we see, you know, fish, the eagle, these incredible whales.
Yes, whales are very popular.
Yeah, talk to us about that. Some of the whales that are hanging in your shop are just stunning.
Thank you, thank you. People like whales. I like to carve whales, so we have whales. It's a fun topic to carve. Most of my work, it's all commission-based, so whatever the client is looking for, I'll carve. They walk in, can you make this for me? Sure I can.
So there's a sign for everything, is what you're saying.
There's a sign for every occasion, you know.
And as we sit along Front Street here, you know, you walk up and down Front Street and you see businesses and they have signs that you have carved for them. It's kind of unique. I know it catches my eye as I'm walking down the street.
A nice carved sign on your shop looks different than some mass-produced sheet of plastic, you know, or painted sign or something. There's more to it, more detail, and it shows the shop owner is invested heavily in their business and they want to make a good impression. So, you know, a nice sign is going to do that.
And I think some of the signs that you've done around town, for example, Lucky Finn, the coffee shop, is just over there.
Yep.
And I feel like those have almost become symbols around town. You know, you see that, you know that is the coffee shop. It kind of creates this unique identity, I feel like, too.
They're attractive and distinctive. Not knowing the name of the shop, you recognize it by the sign.
How does it make you feel to walk around and see your work?
It feels really good. When people come in and ask about things that I've done, I just tell them, take a walk around the neighborhood, Front Street or out by the lighthouse. So much of my work is out there. It's a good feeling.
Something else really cool that you do is you've kind of given the gift of carving to other people, so you started doing classes.
I did. I started taking classes from somebody else, so I give back in that same fashion. And through the years, I've taught hundreds of people how to carve. No experience at all to advanced carvers, help them along the way. So the people come in once a week for a couple hours, 2.5 hours, and hang out and carve. It's pretty cool.
All right, so Paul, you don't just have signs here in Scituate or on the South Shore.
No.
All over the world.
Scituate is a pretty popular town. I get a lot of visitors, and people get a feel for the area. They see these signs, they see where they're made. We get visitors from all over the country, obviously, all over the world. So I do have work spread all over the place, shipping stuff all the time, yeah.
And something else that's kind of fun that you do is you don't just carve this stuff, you also paint it, which I imagine is kind of a really fun part of it.
Fun, yeah, challenging if you don't have a steady hand. Painting is half the job, really. Painting or gilding. So I'm going to add gold leaf to the project. It's not just a simple sign or piece of art. There's work involved in it.
So every piece you do is going to be a little bit unique, a little different, in a world of things that are mass-produced.
That's part of the attraction, I think, of getting something that's hand-carved. It's handmade, it's got a little different look to it than the machine-made one.
It's like the perfection in the imperfections,
Exactly. They're all going to be one of a kind. As an example, I've got a client, there's 3 of them here, I've got a half dozen whales I have to make for him, and he wants them all to look the same. I'm hand carving these, they're not going to be exact identicals. If they were machine made, you could bang out 100 of them, they'd all be identical, and they'd look kind of boring.
Well, as you mentioned, it's therapeutic and relaxing for you. And
you're taking something that was growing. This is part of a tree, right? There's life to that. You can feel it. I mean, once you get into it, just like I say, time just goes away.
There's almost something special about kind of knowing that when you get something that's hand carved, that's one of a kind. There is nothing else like it.
That's true. That's true. That's what sells it, I guess. I mean, people appreciate it, the fact that they've got something that's unique. And that's what we try and deliver.
Coming up after the break, we'll meet a modern-day treasure hunter giving new life to architectural antiques. When New England Living returns after this. Welcome back to New England Living. I'm Rachel Holt. Up next, we're heading to the Granite State to visit an over 10,000 square foot treasure trove of salvaged antiques and vintage building materials, reclaimed and repurposed by John Isger, owner of Northeast Architectural Antiques. John, we're here at your architectural salvage company. First of all, what does that mean?
Basically what we do is if they're going to demolish a house or a barn or the interior of a brownstone in Boston, our company will go in and remove the pieces, such as butler's pantries, stained glass windows, plumbing fixtures, mantles, and things along those lines. So we'll go in and take them out, bring them back to the showroom, clean them up, photograph them, and put them on our website and on Instagram as well.
I'm seeing all kinds of things here. What kind of criteria does it take for something to come here?
Basically, it has to be cool. And anything pre-1940, something unique. Just not something run-of-the-mill, something you can't get anyplace else. And a lot of the things that we sell are one of a kind, so they're a ton of unique pieces.
Walk me through the space here because we're talking about a lot of square footage, which makes sense because there are some big items here.
Well, we built this building specifically for what we do. This building is 12,000 square feet. We have 6 acres of property. We have another 6,000 square foot building out back. We have a wood shop back there where we can create these items. We have a sawmill where we can cut beams and boards and flooring. So there's always something different every single day.
What is that feeling like of seeing the beauty or the value in these objects that might have been discarded or forgotten about?
We're here to preserve these things. It serves a function, and the function is to save all this stuff before it winds up in the dumpster.
Tell me about that history you're saving. How far back do some of these objects date?
We have tiles that date back to the 1680s. We have a lot of antique beams and boarding that would go back to the 1700s. So anywhere from the 1600s up to 1940, we're there.
When you're dealing with these objects that are sometimes hundreds of years old, how are they now getting new life? Where are they going?
We do a lot in new construction. We do a lot of restaurants, bars, that kind of thing. So it's all about the integration of these products into new construction to serve a new purpose. If you're going into a new home, you'll see antique beams that we have cleaned and cut that would go in the ceiling of a new project. Antique flooring that will plane, straight edge, and put down. It really adds a lot of charm, and it's just a fantastic look for a new property or a renovation or a restoration. So we can give these items a second life.
Walking around here, you kind of get the feeling that each object has its own unique story to it.
Every piece has its story in this place. We've removed these items, we've curated these items, so we can walk around and I can tell you where these all came from. And everything has a really cool story. So they can take that item, integrate it into their new project, and have a great story to tell someone.
And it gives you a new appreciation for something that you may be using.
Yes, absolutely. We're giving things a second life here. It's an amazing, amazing fit.
It sounds like some of the things here have lived many lives, actually.
We have actually salvaged our own salvage. We've gone on a job and saw something that we sold 15, 20 years ago, and now they're remodeling again. And these items are coming out, and then they're back for sale here.
There's probably hundreds of thousands of objects in here. So where do we possibly start?
Oh, I think the best thing to do is we just walk around and I can show you and tell you all the stories of every piece we have in the place.
Now we're in the area of the showroom with all these amazing pieces of wood. What's the story behind these beams?
These are 18th century hand-hewn beams, and this is our mantle display. What's become really popular over the past 5 years or so is the integration of antique beams into a new construction project. So these would be in collar ties up on the ceiling, or they use it around a doorway, and it's a really nice look. Everything's gone ultra white these days, so these are a nice change and kind of break up the space.
Do you notice a difference in the craftsmanship of these older pieces of wood sometimes?
Well, the older wood, it's first generation material. So every piece of wood you get now, it's been grown and chopped and grown and chopped. This is all first generation stuff, makes it harder and denser. All of New England was forest, and it was all chopped down and then regrown. So we have the opportunity to salvage the first generation material, turn it into beams, turn it into flooring, or anything else.
Making our way through the showroom, you seem pretty excited when we landed on these two large doors here. What's the story behind them?
This is a large pair of walnut carved doors with inlay, beautiful pediments with brackets. You just don't see things like this these days. To recreate something like that, the cost would be just too much. You couldn't recreate this today, but these are from a grand music room in downtown Boston. It's such a beautiful piece, and we can take some of those components and turn them into something. Like this bar is from that same project. So the panels were wainscoting, the top was antique flooring. Took these pieces to the shop and turned it into a great functional bar.
You talk about all the time that went into something like this, and what's pretty wild to me is that if you had not come along, this would not be here anymore.
If we didn't remove these items, they would be in the dumpster. We literally were there after the first demo crew came in, and we were pulling things out of the demolition pile. Carved brackets, wainscoting, things that were beautiful pieces, and they just got discarded and thrown away. So we were fortunate enough to move all that rubble and find the gold.
And I have to say, with such an assortment of objects, It's surprisingly organized in here, and there seems to be such a nice flow just walking around.
Well, you want it to feel good. You want a sense of what it's going to look like when I take this home. You know, not just a pile of mantles thrown in a corner, not just a barn with stuff shoved in it. It's definitely a curated collection, and we like to set it up in an organized manner so people can visualize it. And it's warm, and it's a cozy place to be, and it's a cozy place to wander.
Coming up right after the break, Executive Chef Megan Vaughn shows us how to grill a steakhouse quality dinner right from your home kitchen. When New England Living returns after this. Welcome back to New England Living. Chef Megan Vaughn is the only female executive chef of a steakhouse in Boston, and she joins us in the test kitchen with some tips on choosing the perfect cut of meat. Chef Megan Vaughn has trained and worked with some of the world's top chefs, including Michael Mina and Wolfgang Puck, and now brings her background in high-end fine dining to Encore Boston Harbor, where she is the executive chef of Rare Steakhouse and Rare Lounge, and is currently the only female executive chef of a steakhouse in Boston. We're here at the Clark Sub-Zero and Wolf showroom, and I am joined by Chef Megan Vaughn. And Megan, you're the executive chef of Rare Steakhouse, so you're gonna give us some tips today on how we can select that perfect piece of beef at home. I see you have 3 selections for us. What did we choose?
Yes, so I brought you guys 3 cuts of meat. I have a filet, a strip loin, and a strip loin. And then this is prime, this is American Wagyu, and this is Japanese Wagyu. You can really tell the difference when it's raw about like the marbling, the fat content, the coloring, just like when it's raw, and that's what I look for when I am picking out meat for home.
Okay, well, if you're doing that, that's what we want to do too. Which one are we selecting today?
Okay, so today we are gonna cook the American Wagyu. So this comes from a farm called Blackhawk Farms outside of Nashville. Really, really good farm. They essentially raise all of their cattle on property. They slaughter their cattle on property, but they have like this really nice sustainable program because everything that cattle eats, it is produced on that farm, which is great. Like I think it's really important to know where your beef comes from and make sure the farms are taking care of the animals and just the environment as well.
When you cut into this piece of meat, what are some things that you'll be looking for?
I mean, just the coloring, it's really nice red. The marbling is really, really nice. But because I know where it's coming from, like I know it's gonna be good.
Sure.
So.
And because it's coming from you, we know it's gonna be good.
Okay, so this is sort of just like what it looks like. One thing that's really important when I cook a steak, I use a really nice seasoning, and this is what we use at Rare. It's basically a sea salt seasoning, like sort of like a Montreal seasoning, but we use onion, garlic, paprika, a little bit of celery salt, and celery.
Okay, amazing. And how long will this cook for?
Honestly, it depends on like how thick the meat is, but I would say because these are sort of thick but small, maybe like 6-7 minutes.
Okay. All right, now while that's cooking, you don't hear of many women being the executive chef of a steakhouse. What is it like breaking barriers in that sense?
I mean, I think it's so important to show representation in like all categories of life. So, you know, I'm Asian American, I'm a woman, I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community. So I think anybody who's part of those groups and sees me like as like a head chef of a steakhouse, I think it's great. And I think, again, it's like such an honor that, you know, they've given me that position, and it's amazing that I can be that representation for anybody in those groups or like anybody outside those groups.
Is that probably one of the most rewarding parts of what you do?
I think so. Actually, one of my line cooks in Seattle told me that they have never seen a woman, a head chef woman in the savory kitchen. It's always been pastry. Like you'll get so many head chefs that are women that are pastry, but you don't get a lot in the savory kitchen. So she was very excited, and I was really excited to work with her. So it was just sort of nice to hear.
There's certainly savory on the menu at Rare Steakhouse. There's also Rare Lounge, which is all about comfort food, but this is elevated comfort food. It's not just your average mac and cheese. What can we find there?
I mean, you can definitely get the dining room menu in the lounge, but it's a little more casual. So we have a really nice burger, but it's a Wagyu burger. And then we have fish and chips, but we get really nice like haddock, like fresh haddock for the fish and chips. And then of course you can get like all of our steaks. We have like oysters, shrimp, like it's a really nice smaller menu, but it's still really good.
All right, it looks like we're getting close here. What's the finishing touches for this beef?
So we, at the restaurant, we do a clarified butter with smashed garlic and thyme. We're gonna put a little bit of that on top.
Drizzled butter on this steak, what could be better than that? Oh yeah, beautiful. And you like to serve this with a side of Brussels sprouts. How do you make that dish?
We blanch the Brussels sprouts and then we'll saute them to get a little bit of color on them. And then we deglaze it with a really nice vinegar called -8. And we'll top it with our golden raisins that we fortify and pour in white wine and crispy shallots.
Make it easy for us to try this at home, or we could just go to Rare Steakhouse and let you do all the work, which sounds kind of nice, right? For more cooking segments like this, head to our website, newenglandliving.tv. Coming up next, we're heading to Hartford, Connecticut to visit an historic museum dedicated to the advancement of art and culture when New England Living returns. Welcome back to the show. It's time now to go around New England with your New England Chevy dealer. We're visiting the Wadsworth Atheneum Museum of Art in Hartford, Connecticut. Judging by the outside, you'll get the feel that you're entering a castle. Inside, you'll find roughly 50,000 works of art, a collection that spans 5,000 years and includes European art, costume and textiles, American art, contemporary art, and much more. The museum opened to the public in 1844, making it the oldest continuously operating public art museum in the U.S. Founder Daniel Wadsworth intended to create a multi-purpose cultural center dedicated to art, literature, and history, and that vision holds true today. The Wadsworth is comprised of 5 connecting buildings representing different architectural styles, and is the largest art museum in the state. Taking up 3 floors in one of those buildings, the Auerbach Art Library is an important resource for students and the public, and is one of the most comprehensive art historical collections in the region. The museum is open Thursdays through Sundays, during which time you can explore the museum on your own or opt for a guided tour. There's also a museum shop and cafe. Tickets start at $10 for non-members, with a number of free general admission opportunities available. Thanks for joining us today on New England Living. For more on the show or anything you've seen here today, visit us at newenglandliving.tv and follow us on social media. I'm Rachel Holt. See you next time on New England Living.